Welcome back to the Magnetic Growth Podcast. I'm Jacob Block, your host, and today I have a very interesting episode for you because we are interviewing DeanKD. Now, DeanKD spends the majority of his time in crypto helping founders of projects build really, really powerful personal brands. And this is why I had to get this session recorded. That I've realized this cycle is that founder-led brands are doing extremely well. Whether it is Luca Netz of Pudgy Penguins and Abstract, or other founders that we're very familiar with. Founders having a voice and being able to tell the story behind the project can get buy-in to projects more than any other strategy if it's done well. And that is what Dean dissects on this episode. He shares the different strategies that he's implementing on a daily basis for various founders of projects, what's working, what's not, and more importantly, how you guys watching this can really empower your project through your personal brand or through the founder's personal brand. So that's enough talking. There's the introduction. Let's head over to the chat with Dean. Hi guys, and welcome back to another Crypto Builders lecture. Today I'm joined by DeanKD, who is a fellow growth and marketing expert in the space. Dean, how are you doing today?
Good, thanks, mate. Thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's nice to talk to a fellow pro.
I agree. There's not many of us in the space.
There's not too many. We're a rare bunch. But yeah, man, really appreciate you jumping on. I know that you're the founder, right, of Fortyiq.
Well, to be fair, I'd say I have the vanity title of CEO. My founder is actually John. He started it in March of last year, and I joined pretty quickly. So I'd say co-founders.
Co-founder. Okay, this is same thing, or not quite, but we'll keep it at that. But you guys are obviously a former marketing agency, if I'm not wrong, right? More on the storytelling side, helping brands tell their stories. Which, again, I mean, look, most of the successful projects in crypto have come where they have got to because of their storytelling. They've got people to buy in their mission. I think it's such an important part of marketing in this space. But yeah, first of all, I'd love to kind of get your own explanation, your own introduction to who you are, how you ended up in this space, how you ended up marketing in this space, and also a little bit more about Fortyiq.
So I got into the space in 2020, background in financial econ. So I basically ran my own family fund for a little bit, mainly derivatives trading and perp strategies. So did that for a couple of years, studied finance at university. And whilst I was doing my derivative strategies, this was, back in sort of DeFi 1.0. So a lot of yield farming, a lot of airdrop farming. And I would document my stuff on an anonymous crypto Twitter account. Grew that to a big level, and it was quite easy back then. You would just talk about, here's what Aave is, or like here's what Uniswap is, or here's what Compound is, and just covering kind of DeFi 101 basics. So niched in DeFi and GameFi, grew the CT account up well, helped a bunch of influencers do the same thing. So did ghostwriting for them, worked on their personal brands, did community engagement for them. Cut a long story short, sent out a bunch of cold DMs. That's how I came across my now co-founder, John. He had just started Fortyiq. I joined as the first full-time hire. And then fast forward to today, we've grown pretty exponentially. We're about a team of, I think it's 15 now. And as you mentioned, focus on storytelling. Specifically, what we do is we ghostwrite for late-stage founders and brands as well more recently, but mainly focused on founders. We're big believers that people bet on people, and this is a developing thesis, but I believe all products are pretty much commoditized due to AI, due to technology getting to the frontier, and AI just rapidly improving. I think all products are the same. Like a pint of milk is a pint of milk, and an LLM is an LLM. There may be some marginal differences. Same can be said for any L1, any perp stacks, any borrowing lending platform. They're all the same. So what's your edge? Probably your brand. That was part of the thesis of starting the agency. I think personal brands are becoming a moat now, whether that's Totally from Solana, Vitalik from Ethereum. So that's kind of the thesis, and it was simply extrapolated from Web 2. No one was doing it in crypto. So we just applied those first principles, and we've been able to grow pretty quickly as a result.
Man, that's awesome. I do agree that it's funny. I've not used the term commoditized. I'm definitely going to steal that. But I have had a conversation in the last 6 to 8 weeks, quite intense conversations around what the future looks like when AI is so effective and what separates different offerings. And it is brand. Like that's the core reason why. Like I see, especially with AI right now, it's like a trust curve. The same trust curve we had with Bitcoin, where 10 years ago, no one trusted Bitcoin and wanted to buy Bitcoin. And now all of a sudden, the biggest institutions are buying it, Bitcoin. Everyone wants to buy Bitcoin because the trust curve has slowly progressed over time. And the same with AI, like a lot of businesses will use AI directly in 3, 4, 5, 6 years time. Right now, they're probably using that brand as that is then leveraging AI to deliver what it is that they're delivering. And obviously, like you mentioned, AI is getting so much better, so much smarter, so much quicker, so much more intelligent. Every 3, 6 months, there seems to be some huge upgrade. And we got all of these ultimate tech guys that are running at this full speed. So I completely agree on that point. And I guess my first question off the back of that in a crypto world is, crypto has been one of them industries where people not dox themselves. They have built a brand, just not based on who they are as a physical person, maybe around an NFT, a PFP, something like that. So I guess my first question really is, do you think there's a difference? Do you think that human-based personal founder brands, whatever it might be, are going to have a bigger effect in the future? Or based on what we've seen so far in crypto, do you still think a brand can be built around a character? And with like the human element hidden?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of people have seen my post that anon PFPs are holding you back, and that took over CT for a day. I think, yeah, look, the answer is I've had both. I started in crypto with an anon account. I think it's very possible and probable to grow an account, regardless of whether you're anonymous or doxed. It just depends on what you prioritize. So anonymous, obviously you have the benefit of privacy, security, and that is something to be cognizant of in this space. But I think, you know, as I said, people betting on people is big. And I think if you're doxed, any content you create accrues back to you as a person. My only worry with an anonymous account linked to a PFP is that any content you create accrues back to that PFP, which is not you, which is some random NFT collection. So look, I get both sides. Just for me personally, I think if you're client facing, if you're at the front of the business, if you're like sales or BD or growth or leadership, and it's up to you to either hire or to sell, I think doxed accounts really build trust. But there have been cases of plenty of anonymous accounts who have built way more trust than doxed accounts. So I think you could argue both sides, to be honest.
Yeah. It's interesting because even those guys that have built a brand based on a PFP, they have built a strong connection when people actually know who they are. So even if they are hidden behind a PFP and then they kind of come out and like, oh, this is who I am, people that discover them for the first time might have no idea what they look like, but people that are following them know that now and again they drop their face and they have that human interaction. But that's very interesting. And what do you think that, if say for example you're starting a project tomorrow, is based on what you guys specialize in and do, would your kind of go-to advice be, as a founder, a face out there, create content, build your own brand, or would it be something different? Like how does one approach creating that kind of really powerful founder-led brand as being a marketing asset to the project?
Yeah, I think the advice seems trite now, but it's true that first-time founders focus on product, second-time founders focus on distribution. In the world of commoditized products, distribution is imperative for success. And that links back to personal brands, that links back to content, that links back to owned distribution or email marketing or your own social. So I think it really, really is important. And not many people do it well because it is hard. Sometimes creating your own content is a full-time job. And even just recently, actually, if I reflect on my own content over the past month or so, I think I was doing well early Q1, but now it's been even hard for me whilst running a team of 15 and doing sales and BD and training and managing and blah, blah, blah. So it is really hard. Focusing on product is great, and you need to, of course, have an edge there. You can't offer something shit. Like, you do need to have a great product. But it's like saying if tree fell in a forest and nobody was there to hear it, does it make a sound? Like, what use is it having a great product if no one's heard of it? So you need to, distribution is procurement. What I mean by that is distribution is putting your product in the right people's hands at the right time. That is what a personal brand leverages. So I think if you're just starting, whether it's a protocol, a SaaS product, just a services company, I think building your personal brand is imperative. Because also you don't want to get to the stage where maybe you do grow your company at some point and then you have to pay KOLs millions, or you have to pay for PR and you have to pay for other people's distribution. Every company goes through this life cycle where you're paying for someone else's distribution because you need it at some point, but do you want to pay for someone else's or do you want to use your own? Using your own compounds back to you, and it's portable throughout your career, regardless of company. It goes with you for life. So I think more people should definitely focus on that. And it is tough. I would stipulate it with that. It's 24/7. You always have to create content. It should be authentic. It's really easy to mess up, whether a bad post or you piss people off or just post a bit of AI slop. It's really easy to mess up, but it's fully worth the consistent grind.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point is if you develop your own distribution channel, you're going to have to stop paying for others. And again, a lot of great protocols that have launched, even if you look at Hyperliquid, for example, right? The guys behind Hyperliquid already had kind of their own profiles in crypto, and they take pride in the fact that they haven't paid for any KOL to shield whatsoever because they had their own distribution channels already. And I think that's a good lesson to even someone that's in this space that doesn't know what they want to build yet, to start creating content and start building that distribution channel. Because if it might take you 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to understand what it is that you do want to build, what value you want to bring to the space, you're going to have a much better chance at getting that to market if you've already pre-built a channel that has a great audience that's ready to engage with something that you've actually built. So yeah, I think that's really top advice, man. And I guess moving on, my main question would be kind of we'll do it in 2 parts, right? Do's and don'ts. Like, these are the must-do things if you want to build a powerful brand and in this space, and these are the avoids if you don't want to jeopardize and kill your brand. So yeah, let's start with the do's. Like, what are you constantly telling clients? Like, we have to do these things. These are key elements of the strategy.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'd say that there's a couple of things that come to mind. Again, maybe trite, but you have to have a niche until you have 100,000 followers and you're well known, and then you can, purport to be a thought leader. Then you can get away with generalist advice. But to start with, pick a niche that you're an expert about. So that's the first thing I'll say. Pick a niche. Pick a singular channel. So don't do Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, YouTube all at the same time, because you'll fail them all. I like to say offering everything to everyone is the same as nothing to no one. So pick a singular channel, a singular niche. Those are 2 things I'd say. Largely tend towards topical content. You can do some evergreen stuff, but I'd say the bulk of your content strategy should be topical. That's just what pops off with regards to engagement. And specifically on CT, replies are imperative, which is why I say it's kind of a full-time job. You need to be spending at least an hour a day there, I'd say. The algorithm literally gives you reply boosts. And I would actually say, look at the algorithm. It's open source, especially for Twitter. Specifically with Twitter, Elon wants 2 things. He wants your time and he wants your money. So give him those 2 things. Spend time on Twitter and get the premium blue tick, which I think is like 50 quid or $50. Those are the do's. The don'ts, fairly obvious. Stray away from fully AI content. For sure, you can use it to help ideate. It's funny because you know the M dash that AI uses a lot, the dash in between words. I think a lot of people, including myself, used to use that pre-AI, and now we're forced not to because otherwise every post looks like AI. So I'll just be really cognizant that sure, use it to ideate, use it to strategize, use it to help research, but make sure your content remains authentic to you. So a bit of advice I'd have is before you publish a post, read it out loud. Like, does that actually sound like you? You want to remain full authenticity, because there may be people who are smarter in the world than you. There may be people who have a better product, but what can't other people do? Then they're not you. That's the only edge you have in life. Like, other people cannot be you. So stay authentic. That's probably another do. Sorry, back to the don'ts. Don't use AI BS. Again, strategize with it, sure. Don't do multiple channels. When you have your niche, interact with other people within that niche, whether it's a KOL, whether it's a founder, whether it's an exec, or even a brand account. Create a community within that niche. And probably the first step, I'd say, is just make friends within the industry. I think that's one thing people miss. My first 100 and probably 1,000 followers, and similarly for everyone I know, I knew in real life, and through communities and through conferences, and through like one-on-one calls or streams like this. Just make actual friends, and they'll go to bat for you in terms of career and content as well. I know that was quite jumbled up there, but hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, but nevertheless, I think there's some really good points in there. I definitely like the idea of replies. We know the effect of replies firsthand. There are some tools nowadays that are out there that can help streamline this process more. In terms of generating replies, obviously you still have to be the one that kind of pushes that reply out there. But it is there's certain elements of what you discuss which AI can help but shouldn't take over. One of them is obviously just purely writing the content, for example. Or another one is replies. Like I said, there's tools out there that can automatically pick up profiles and preempt, okay, reply this to this, this to this, this to this, and then you can hit those replies. I think it will become easier for someone to build a brand by using AI, which always leads me to thinking there's going to be more competition potentially later down the line. So I kind of wanted to get your idea on that as well. Do you think that AI will make it even harder to stand out as a brand? And what do you think will help a brand stand out in like the AI era? Because when I look at it, if everyone can start producing super sophisticated content through AI and pump out content left, right, and center, who do I follow? Why am I following them when everyone's doing so much? If that makes sense. Like, I don't see the winner being who does the most anymore. It has to be who's the smartest. And what does that smart look like?
Yeah, that's a good question. Similarly, on the product side, I think everything is getting commoditized. So including content, like you said, the barrier to entry to creating content is zero. You can literally pull up any general purpose LLM and get it to create some shit content for you. That is very possible. So again, thinking of, okay, what can I do that anyone else cannot emulate, including an LLM? So that goes back to personal storytelling. And this is what I tell a lot of our clients. A lot of them are late stage, like top 100 market cap or Series A and beyond. Sure, they have cool, fancy companies with great tech and amazing TPS, sure. But anyone else can talk about that as well. Like you said, anyone else can talk about the tech. All LLMs are roughly, within an order of magnitude as smart as each other. But what can't they talk about? They can't talk about personal stories. Our clients and you, whoever listening, and you, Jake, on the other side of this, you have personal stories that other people haven't. You've had life experiences and you can share those experiences, and other people can't copy that because you as an individual have harnessed all of these individual experiences, which other people haven't. That is your edge. So personal storytelling and documenting those stories, not necessarily trying to purport as a thought leader. I give some of this advice now and I preface it saying it's trite because, look, I'm not someone that has 100k followers. Like, I'm still doing this. So I like to say, document more than purporting to give advice, unless you are really, really one of the top guys. So I think documentation of cool stories. So actually just go outside and like do real shit and turn that into content, whether it's you at a conference, you on a holiday, just a cool life experience. AI cannot copy that, LLMs cannot copy that. That is authentic content. That seems to be the way things are trending, in my opinion.
Yeah, really solid points, man. Really solid points. And again, this conversation has been very forward thinking, because I believe that if you're coming into the industry now, you're early stage building, you need to start thinking about what this industry could look like in 6 months time, 12 months time, how to stand out in that time frame. That's going to give you that kind of unique edge that can really help you propel and take advantage of what the next market cycle might look like. Because I do think that when well, if and when we finally get the end of this current cycle, there will be a reinvention period in crypto as an industry. And yeah, I think some of the points you mentioned today are very forward thinking and are going to enable people and builders to start thinking about what they can do right now to stand out and how that can position them very well in 6, 12, 18 months or so time. I think you provide a lot of value, ma'am. I really appreciate jumping on. I guess my last thing is, what would your advice be to a builder that's starting out right now in this market? Obviously, this is general purpose. This isn't just about building a brand. This is general purpose. This could be anything to do with building a project in the space, or you might want to lean heavily on kind of the topic that we stuck with today. I guess the floor is yours. Pretend that I am just starting a project for the first time, just coming into this industry. Give me your 1-2 minute pitch on avoid this, do this, whatever it might be.
That's a good one. I'll give one final thing on the brand side. You made a good point about thinking 6 months, 1 year, 2 years in the future. I'd say if you're just one person and you have the time for this, focus on live streams and cutting them up into short form clips. That's the future by a country mile. Not many people are doing it. People are doing it in Web 2. It's pretty early days in crypto. I think Andy, who's a friend of mine from the Rollup, he's got the Rollup TV. They're doing it well. No one else is doing it. I think content will be bifurcated into two things. There'll be really, really short clips and people will high dopamine, like 20-second clips. And they'll be all the way on the other end, like the Joe Rogan type experience, which are 3 hours, not edited, not clipped, and that's really authentic. So how can you get the best out of both worlds? Live stream. Live stream for a somewhat extended period of time. Make sure there are some spicy takes in there, and then cut and clip them up. That I will bet a decent chunk of my net worth, which is not much yet, but I will bet a decent chunk of my net worth that is the future of content. So for sure, do that. Just do that for 6 months and just watch your account grow. Candidly, this is something I'm trying to do now if I can find the time. I know it's the future. I just need to put the cogs together. So I would say do that on the branding side, and on the general advice side, I'd say less advice. This is again more documentation from my story, and what's helped me is just making crypto friends, just being open-minded, meeting everyone. Sure, a lot of people are fake, a lot of people are real. You need to take a high volume approach to figure out who those people are, who's real, who's fake. When you find the real people, the high integrity people, then keep them close. So I think generally making a lot of close friends, and they will go to bat for you in any regard. So if you can, if budget permits, go to conferences. If not, get in Discords, get in Telegram communities, join activation, join streams, interact with other people, and just be friendly and helpful. I think there is a severe lack of that. So as we talk about how to stand out, sure, you can do all the content stuff, you can do the live streams, but you know what? Actually being helpful, actually being a high integrity person, and give until someone else is asked. I think there's a lot of transactionality in the space. If you can just be a kind human, believe me, that will set you apart in crypto.
Awesome, man. Yeah, really, really good points. When anyone says, like, to me, the same similar question, I would cover other points. And that's why I think that you don't really think too much about those elements. I'd always say go to conferences 100% and meet people in the industry. It's very tight knit. You shared some real value on this call, man. And I think especially anything to do with branding, being able to like dive into that a little bit more. Like we could have spoke about so much, I'm sure. Like we could have spoke about and put the industry to rights. But yeah, just dialing in solely on the branding side, how big of a part that is in the future, especially with your points around how product could become commoditized in a way. Really timely podcast episode and something that I hope will open a lot of people's thinking about where they move from here on their project. So yeah, really appreciate you for joining, man. Anyone wants to check out Dean, what's your X handle?
DeanKD _ at the end. I don't know why I didn't get the normal DeanKD handle, but yeah, you have to add that cheeky underscore at the end.
There you go. DeanKD with an underscore. And then obviously you can learn about everything that Dean's doing in the space on his X, I assume, as well. There you go. The one distribution channel. He didn't start shilling a YouTube, a LinkedIn, and so on. Just the Ets.
Yep.
Learn it. Implementing by your own words. But yeah, man, look, really appreciate you jumping on today. I hope everyone took value from this episode, and go check Dean out. Very smart guy, as I'm sure you've all been able to tell today. Let's keep building, and I'll see you all on the next one.
Thank you very much, mate.
See you later.